Welcome to Money Making Conversation. I am your host, Rushion McDonald. It is important to understand that everybody travels a different path to success. That is because your brand is different. The challenges you face in your life are different. So stop reading other people's success stories and start writing your own. My Money Making Conversation interviews will encourage you to lead with your gifts and never use age as an excuse when planning your goals. My next guest is Gary Owen. He's one of the top touring comedians today. He performs regularly in sold-out comedy clubs and arenas around this country. His big break came in 1997 on BET stand-up showcase Comic View. Now, as an actor, you've seen him in Think Like a Man movies, Daddy Daycare, Lil Man, Ride Along. He is on the show to talk about his comedy career because he's back on tour. COVID, he back out there now. COVID shut us down for a little bit, but he's back out there. His popular Get Some podcast, and he's starring in a new action thriller movie called Welcome to Sudden Death with Michael Jai White. Please welcome to Money Making Conversation, my man, Gary Owen. How you doing, Gary?
What's up, man?
Well, we kind of popped it up right there, man. The COVID came in and everybody in live event performances shut down. Tell us about that moment when there was a realization that this pandemic was going to take away a portion of your income, and how did you deal with it?
Well, it took away a huge part of the income there for a while.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I understated it, Gary. I understated it.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize I kind of live my life and we budget like everything around my stand-up money. Like TV and film money is always just like extra to me.
Right.
When those checks come in, I'm always like, oh, great, extra money. Mm-hmm. But as far as my day-to-day living, we base it off stand-up. So when that came to a halt, I was just like, whoa, okay. I thought it was going to be like 2-3 months. I didn't know we'd still be going.
Right, right. You know, that was the scary part about it because of the fact that, people have to admit that you're just an entrepreneur. If you're a stand-up comic, you're successful, you're a small business. You're a walking, talking small business. You just happen to be going on stage performing. And when the COVID hit me, I admit, I couldn't really grasp how I would go out in public. I had my Purell, I had my wipes, I had my mask, I had some tissues, and I didn't know I even had plastic gloves. How did that affect you? Not just from a comedic standpoint, just from a real life standpoint. You have your family to deal with, and your professional life being shut down. Now you're at home. How did that all play out, Gary?
Well, I mean, a couple things I did. I called everyone that I know that's healthier than me, which is Romney Malco, who is in Think Like a Man, who's probably the healthiest man I've ever met.
I agree. I
swear to God, that guy's 75 years old and looks 30.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're not lying now. That's my favorite, man. He's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, and I called him. I said, Romney, what should I be taking, like, to boost my immune system, just in case I caught it, and if I did catch it, I'd be equipped to deal with it. So I called him. I called a couple of doctors that I know. I just called everyone healthier than me to find out what I should be taking in case I caught it. And then, I'm going back to what you said earlier, how when the COVID hit, how did I deal with it? One thing I did that I would encourage any comic to do is I really amped up my YouTube and Facebook videos because, once you get 1,000 subscribers, you can get monetized on YouTube.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I actually hired a company to take all my old jokes because I own all my comedy specials.
There you go.
I did them myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, cut these up, put them on YouTube, and it kind of supplemented my income. I mean, it wasn't as much as stand-up, but it was more money than I had in the past off social media. So that's money I could have made. I made without leaving my house.
Now, let me ask you this. So, and every time, a lot of people don't know this, every time when you have subscribers and every time you upload a video, it notifies your current subscribers. And that's how you get more subscribers. And so did you just like, because a lot of people don't understand that social media really is a blessing. And this is what you said, look, hey man, I own my material. I copyright this stuff. Let me go on YouTube and make more money using my material. And that enabled you to see things from a different perspective now that the pandemic is allowing you to go back to work. Aren't you looking at a different financial model?
I am. And it's also building your fan base. You're bringing in fans that you didn't have before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Because more people were at home watching this stuff,
right?
and now you get back on the road, and I got back on the road a few times in the last couple months, and with YouTube, Facebook, and the podcast, it's like I'm bringing in new fans that I didn't know I had before the pandemic.
Well, now you become what they say, multiple streams of income. And that's what we all try to achieve. And you're also achieving a level where you're not waiting on somebody to give you an opportunity, especially with the podcast and especially with the YouTube channel. So when I look at what you're doing with your career, Gary, first of all, I'm proud of you. I've been backstage watching you perform. I've watched you on TV. I've watched at least 2 of your comedy special. You built a brand, and you built a brand as a white guy with a black audience. How did all that start? Because I did stand up. I started out performing in front of an all-white audience, and then Def Jam hit in '92, and suddenly I saw a black audience out there, and I shifted my gear, and I went over there and said, this is a bigger opportunity, this pays a bigger check. I'm gonna live my dream through this, and then I became a talent manager, and the rest is history. So how did you start out your stand-up career and your focal point?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a stand-up. I just didn't know how do you do it. You grew up in a small town in Ohio. I'm like, how do you even start? Because even when I was a teenager, we had a local comedy club. We had a Funny Bone in Cincinnati that Ray Combs used to own. He used to be the host of Family Feud. Mm-hmm. And I'd always sit outside and listen to the comics. I was too young to get in, but I'd sit at the front door. And it was funny because I actually got cool with the door guy there, and he started to be like, "Hey, you always hanging out here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a comedian." I had never been on stage yet. I was telling him, "Yeah, I'm a comedian." Mm-hmm. And then he started to let me sit in the back. He had his own little back high top table, and me and this guy would sit in the back, and we'd watch stand-ups come in. And literally never being on stage, I'd be in the back critiquing stand-ups going, "Oh, I'm better than him. Yes, oh, yeah, I'm funnier than him."
Yes.
But then there'd be some comics I'd be like, "Oh, that guy's pretty good."
I know. Isn't that funny? I never thought of that. That's crazy. It really does become a science. That's important that you say that, because you get to see some people that, the musical act. You get to see all of them. And that was the beauty of your education, being able to sit back and see all these different levels. Yeah.
And then I joined the military after high school. And the only reason I joined the military is, I always say I didn't know where I exactly wanted to go. I just know where I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be stuck in that trailer park in that small town the rest of my life.
Right.
So the Navy was an opportunity to basically get an airline ticket and fly me to another part of the country.
Right.
I got to meet different types of people, but the whole goal, and it sounds crazy, from like I can remember junior high, was to be a stand-up. And I thought you had to start in LA. I didn't know you could start doing stand-up in any city you live in.
Right.
I thought you had to start in LA. I also thought the whole state of California was Los Angeles.
Right.
Because I'm looking at David Lee Ross video. I wish y'all could be California girls. I'm like, well, that's the whole state. I didn't know there was a Fresno and a Bakersfield.
Right. Let alone San Diego. What? Okay, where you had to fly.
San Diego. Well, that's where I got stationed. Mm-hmm. I finally got stationed after 2 years in San Diego, and my first day there, I got in the phone book, and I started looking up comedy clubs. And it was funny. I called this place called the Comic Castle, and I said, "Hey, man, what's up?" I get in the phone book. I go, "You got open mic?" He said, "Let me check." And he gets off the phone, he comes back, he goes, "I can't find them." I said, "What do you mean you can't find them?" It was a comic book store. I thought I was calling a comedy club. This dude was looking for a superhero named Open Mike. I said, "No." I said, "Man, I'm looking to stand up."
Gary, you trying so hard. This is funny, man. Continue, man. This is funny. I'm glad I talked to you about this stuff. Come on, man. Come on.
But the dude was so helpful at the comic book store. He goes, "Nah, man, we're a comic book store, but here's the phone number to the comedy store in La Jolla and this other comedy club." So I went, and I signed up for open mic. After about a month, I finally got on, and in my mind, that was it. I'm about to be a star. my first open mic, I'm like, I've waited for this. I'm ready for this. I think I got.
Are you still in the military? Are you out? Are you still in the military?
Oh, yeah. I'm still in the Navy.
Okay.
I'm still in the Navy. And I'm like, because open mic nights was Sunday night at the Comedy Store. Mm-hmm. And I went up there, and I got on stage. It was probably midnight, 1 a.m. There's like 10 people in the audience, but there's like 20 comics in the back of the room. So the comics were heckling me. And I was like, when you open mic, I got this 5 minutes. I don't have anything else.
Right.
I can't get out of it. So I told the comics in the back, I go, hey, why don't you guys keep heckling? Because I'm 19 and I had a beer in my hand. I said, I've been drinking in this club all night. Why don't I call the cops and shut this place down? They threw me out so fast. Yo,
my God.
I ain't like, it was like out of a movie. The power went out on the mic. Some bouncer came up and grabbed me by the back of my shirt and threw me like I did a front roll in front of the Comedy Store. And the guy stood over and goes, don't ever come back.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, great. So I go to my shift the next day and I'm telling people about the night before. And like you, everybody's laughing. And a couple brothers that I was stationed with, they said, yo, G, you can go here, here, and here. They told me about all the quote-unquote hood spots, black spots that they have comedy shows. So that's really why I started doing all the quote-unquote black comedy, is because it was I could get on stage. I could get on stage at the mainstream room.
Right.
And then fast forward, I started trying to go to L.A. now. So now I'm driving up to L.A. all the time from San Diego. And the same thing happened. I went to the Comedy Store. I waited in line 3-4 hours, 3 different times to be a paid regular at the Comedy Store. And I finally got the showcase for Mitzi Shore, and I didn't get picked. So I was just like, I said, it's whatever. But I got to meet Guy Torrey, and then Guy got me on at Fat Tuesday.
That's right,
and then
Fat Tuesday.
Again, all the black comics started saying, hey, man, you can come here, here, here. So I started doing all the black nights in Hollywood.
Right.
And that's basically what led to everything. And then I got on BET, became the host, and then the rest is kind of history.
Well, it's really interesting just hearing that story because, like I said, you just took advantage of the opportunities that were presented to you. Okay. But more importantly, you took advantage of that. You did not see an opportunity to say, well, I'm still trying to get over here to be successful. I'm gonna be successful where I'm allowed the opportunity to be successful. When you got on BET, you became the host. How much did that change your touring money, as they say, your ability to be booked?
Well, here's what's crazy. People that remember the old Comic View days, it was a contest.
I remember. I remember.
Yeah, I know you remember. Mm-hmm. But it was a contest, and so. The first year I did it, they filmed the whole season in a week.
Right.
They do like 3 or 5 episodes every day, Monday through Friday. So the whole season was done in a week. Mm-hmm. So I was still active duty military. I was still in the Navy. I took a week's leave, drove up to LA and recorded my whole season right there.
You kidding?
So now.
So you're still in the Navy. You're in the Navy.
Oh my God.
And you recorded BET's Comic View.
Yeah. Here's where it gets crazy. I'm still active duty. I go up to LA, film Comic View, come back to my base. So now I start to air on TV. I'm a cop in the Navy. I'm Master Arms. So we on the gate waving cars in. Dude, I'm on the gate waving cars in, and some of the brothers is like, hey, man, didn't I see you on TV last night? So I'm sitting there. And then, and BET doesn't know I'm in the Navy, and the Navy itself doesn't really know I'm, doing this stand-up thing. And Curtis Gatson, who was the head of BET at the time,
absolutely,
called me and said, hey, his assistant called me and said, Curtis wants to meet with you. I drive up to LA, and Curtis goes, we want to make you the host. And I was like, whoa. So I'm like, whoa, I had to go back to my base, and I still had 6 months left on my enlistment. And I was like, I got to get out early. I got offered a TV show. And literally they were like, we've heard of some lies, but this one's a great one. And so basically, long story short is BET they weren't going to start filming for another 3 months.
Right.
Comic View.
Right.
I had 6 months left of my enlistment. So my command worked with me, and I finished out that 3 months working, and then I drove up to LA, and that's when I just moved up there. So there, when you say tour money, there really wasn't tour money. I wasn't on the road. I was basically just San Diego going up, 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
And then I get out of the Navy, I immediately go into hosting BET.
Right.
And now I'm on the road as a stand-up. It was crazy. I didn't have the years of being on the road, opening up for people for no money. I don't have that story, but my grind was driving to LA 3-4 times a week out of San Diego. Like, I get off work at 4 in the Navy, drive up to LA for like a 10 o'clock spot at the Comedy Act Theater, and then drive right back because I got to be at work at 6 in the morning.
Right. So your grind was serving our country. That was your grind.
Serve my country.
Right.
And, driving 4 hours, 2 hours up, 2 hours back, 4 or 5 days a week in my S10 pickup, just so I could get 5-10 minutes on stage because I felt like, I was getting my name out there. I was meeting people. I was just so excited to meet people I saw on TV. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool because, first of all, my laughter is natural because of the fact you're just naturally funny. I'm just hearing you talk and you just naturally I always tell people when you become a real comic, you just know how to say certain words that will generate a laugh. You just know, 2 + 2 is 4. And that ability to be just naturally funny has always paved your way to the next opportunity. Now, when we say you're on the road now, you're getting popular, people showing up to see Gary. How did that feel, Gary?
You know what? I always knew it was going to happen. And it sounds cocky, but there was never any doubt. It was like, I would sit in class in like high school.
Yes.
And literally, this sounds so cocky, I would look around like, you guys don't know who's in your class? I'm sitting right here.
Take pictures. Get my autograph. Don't be sad if you don't do it. That's funny.
Rashad, I would tell girls, you should date me. I'm going to make it. You should.
This is why I found this so incredible when I talk to people who get it early on. So you got it. I went to college, took me 7 years to graduate. Then I worked for IBM, and then I started doing stand up. I wasted 7 valuable years of when I could have just at 18 knew this is what I wanted to do. Followed my natural instinct, followed my blessings, and went and did it. And that's why when I listen to your story, it's so single focused. Okay, I got to get out of Ohio. I'm gonna use the military. You said it. I'm gonna use the military to get out of here. Take me to a city that I can do stand up. Once you realize you can do stand up anywhere, then guess what? You pursue that opportunity. Then you say, I got to get to LA. I'm gonna drive. I'm not gonna let somebody stop. I'm not gonna party. I'm not gonna be dating. I gotta fulfill my dream. You always had a single-minded focus, man. That's a passion that is still carrying through today for you, correct?
Oh, without question. Because you never reach your goals. I always say, like, if you sell 10,000 tickets, you want to sell 11,000 next time.
Right.
You win an Oscar, you want to win another Oscar. You get in a movie, you want to do another movie. You never reach your goals. The goals change. Because you first get in the business, you just want to be on the road as a headliner, and then you want to sell tickets, and then you want to get the door deals, and then you want to move to theaters.
Right.
And it always changes, but you never reach your goal. I guess my goal would be to sell out Earth.
Right.
I don't know if that's possible.
Well, you get past COVID, you get there, my brother. Now let's talk about these specials now, because doing a special is what you want to do. You want to get that special, but then again, it takes a whole lot of your key material when you do it, because you got to get your special, you get it, then you got to get on the road to take advantage of all that extra exposure to get those sellouts and those door deals. How do you write your material?
I don't really write my jokes down. I mean, I'll get in my phone and on my notes, I'll have like a word, but I don't really write my jokes down. It's just, I'm on the road so much that they're just always in my brain.
Right.
But I don't really write my jokes down. I just think your comedy kind of grows with you, with I used to talk about dating, then I got married, and then my
Right.
kids were young, and now they're teenagers. Now they just graduated. I just really talk about my life a lot. A lot.
Right, you do.
And
You
just
do.
stuff I see.
As they say, a whole lot. I do know Gary Owen.
A whole lot.
I know Gary. Reality show Gary. You talk about so much you made it a TV show. That's how much you talk about it. You are an open book.
Facts.
You're an open book. Open book. Now, let's get into the movies now, because I know you have the movie Welcome to Southern Death with Michael Jai White. Universal 1440 Entertainment is the production of Universal Home Entertainment. Now, go back in our relationship with Think Like a Man 2. I remember Will Packer, we were sitting down, Steve Harvey and I, and we was going through the casting. And then, and your name popped up. It was not even a question that you...
Oh, really?
What? You were just perfectly made for the movie. And you,
that's good.
now, you were just, seriously, you were perfectly made for the movie. And when it became a instant hit, how did that affect your touring dollars? The first Think Like a Man movie, Gary.
Well, that was a time in my career. It was like the perfect storm. My career, it's gone in like 3 segments. It was like, I got the hosting job on BET, and then I had a couple specials come out, and but when Think Like a Man came out in 2012 and we recorded it in 2011, my career was kind of on a hamster wheel. I was doing fine, but it wasn't really going anywhere. The money was the same,
Right.
I kind of knew when I went into a city how much money I was pulling out.
Right.
And then I knew how many tickets I would sell. And it was like this, it's crazy how this, I would say from 2010 to 2013, it was a huge jump in my career. There was 3 things that happened. One, Mike Epps had this comedy show called Live from the Nokia, and he asked me to be on it, and I got on it, and I said, I just had a feeling that set was going to do something for me. I don't know why, and it did. And then the next year, Will Packer called. No, 6 months after I recorded it, Will Packer called me and was like, "Yo, I got this movie, G. We need this white guy that can hang out with black guys, but not act black, and really be able to give and take, like give them shit, and then they give and take." And I was like, "Oh, that's perfect."
Right.
And then and then I did another special, and then it just that was a big jump in my career as far as like tickets going up and people recognizing me and getting more opportunities like in front of the camera. Yeah, I always say Will Packer, especially going to bat for me and you guys and the Think Like a Man franchise. It just came at a time in my career where it just went pew. The IRS was happy.
Well, I'm gonna just tell you, like I said, you have to be ready for those moments, Gary, and you was ready for those moments, and that's why I appreciate the storytelling that you're doing and doing this interview. Everything is like so fresh and so vivid in your mind because you live in what you wanted to do all your life, and so it's not even like another thought. I didn't want to be a scientist. I was in the Navy, but that wasn't a career move for me. Okay, that was just an opportunity to get to my dream, and I think that's really impressive. And when I look at the movie that I saw, Welcome to Southern Death with Michael Jai White. Okay, now you're the comedy relief in this movie. Okay, so when people tell you that and you're given a script, what runs through your mind? Is there additional pressure that because it's a serious, terrorist-driven movie where this basketball arena and the owner of the arena is captured and people are being bludgeoned and killed backstage and nobody knows about it. Out of all this, you got to be funny. Is that pressure?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what's crazy about this whole movie and how I got it. Okay. And you always hear the notion there's no small parts in this business.
I'm just tell you something, Gary. So, your whole career on this interview been crazy. So you can use the word crazy, but it really kind of like it's the exclamation mark of everything that happened in your life. My thing about you is that when you give an opportunity to do, you go for it 100%. That's what I give you. And I give you credit for that, man. That's following your passion with credibility and an absolute focus. You're amazing, dude. I got to give you love on that one, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it. But this is how Welcome to Sudden Death came about for me. I did a movie called Undercover Brother 2. And
Yes.
Michael Jai White was in
I
it.
saw that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now.
Absolutely.
And me and Michael Jai White, we only had one day together shooting. Like one day. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really have any lines. I just had to give Mike a face in the movie, and he kept cracking while we were filming. He kept going, I can't look at this guy without laughing. And so we, met, small talk, nothing crazy. All of a sudden, he DMs me like 4 or 5 months later and said, hey, man, I'm getting ready to do this movie. Can I send you the script, or can you call me to discuss it? So I called him, and he pitches the movie to me, and he goes, dude, I really want you on this movie. And here I am. I'm like,
okay. He calling you, telling you he really wants you on this movie.
Right. Michael Jai White is.
Okay, cool.
So
and what type of attitude do you have, Gary? You kind of like, is he kidding me? I jumped through this.
Oh, no, Mike ain't one to BS. Mike ain't one to BS. And I'm glad it was on the phone, because you can't say no to Mike in person, by the way. He's an intimidating dude. But I knew I didn't have to read the script. He goes, I'm going to send you the script and let me know if you want to do it. I already knew I was going to say yes.
Right.
I already knew it. Mm-hmm. So I read it, and then, like I said, there wasn't a lot of funny parts in it like that. And he just said, I just want you to be you, make it yours. I talked to the director. We had lunch. He gave me, his blessing. Like, dude, make it yours, make it funny. We'll do a take according to the script, but we're going to do takes where you can just do what you want.
Right.
And the cool part about this movie is every day when you sit in the makeup trailer, and usually when you're in the makeup trailer, it's early, your energy's low, and you're just trying to, you're kind of reading the script by yourself. Every time me and Michael had a scene together, which most of our scenes were together, because it's like a buddy, it's like a rush hour.
It is.
And he always would sit back and we'd read lines together, and we'd go over the scene. And so by the time we went to shoot and block, we had our own version. And give all credit to Dallas Jackson, the director. He was like, yeah, let's do it. And even Mike said, he goes, I'm telling him, I go, hey, I thanked him, like, dude, thanks for giving me some leeway and doing this. And he goes, I'm just happy I'm giving you suggestions on jokes and you're using them. I was like, I didn't think about that.
That's beautiful.
It was crazy, because in Mike's mind, he was like, yo, I can't believe Gary Owen just used one of my jokes.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But it was his movie. So I was like, yeah, I like to be collaborative. So I was like, yeah, you know the character and everything. So it was so fun work with him, and to be wanted like that. I never had that experience to be a lead. I mean, yeah, Think Like a Man was great, but that was such a big ensemble, and there were so many good people. But just the fact that out of everyone in the business, Mike was like, yo, I want Gary. And he really fought for me to be in the movie.
Well, let everybody know. First of all, it's a really good movie, and you're very funny, and Michael's very athletic, and he kicks butt. I'm trying to figure out how this guy is kicking butt, looking the way he's looking at his age. But he looks amazing. He looks very limber, as they say. But it really is a starring role for you in this, because of the fact that you're more than just a comedy relief. They come to you in strategic moments in the movie to move the story along. And that's when it becomes, they've really given me an opportunity, because if you blow that move the story along part or doesn't have credibility, then guess what? The story doesn't flow. And the story does flow. It's a really, really good movie.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Well, it's coming out on September 29th, available on digital and DVD and Blu-ray. Welcome to Southern Deaf. Gary Owen, hey, man.
And Netflix.
And Netflix as well. Dallas Jackson's director, starring my man, Michael Jai White. Gary, thank you for the time, man. This is really, hopefully you don't mind coming back on the show again. First time I've talked to you in person. I've seen you, and we met each other many times to the side, or shook hands, or dap. But you're really special, man. And I really respect what you've accomplished and will accomplish in this business, and keep winning. Anytime you want to promote anything, your podcast, I got 1 million social media followers. I got a email fan list of every Wednesday. I send out like 90,000 fan club followers. I'll promote you, brother. T-shirts, face masks, whatever you got. When you come to town, let me know. Okay? I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Hi, this is Rashawn McDonald. If you want to listen to any Money Making Conversation interviews, please go to moneymakingconversation.com. I am Rashawn.